Hey.
It's on.
All right. You guys gonna kill it?
Mm-hmm.
Great job. Don't talk about me. And if you do, I'll pause the thing.
Oh, I was just saying, not the common denominator.
Go.
Wait.
How can we not? I'm so excited and nervous and I don't everything at one time.
The good thing is it's not live.
I know. That's the best part. Okay. All right, welcome to Drive. I am your host, Joshwayy, and this is Drive, the show that we talk about people's lives, their drive, their motivation, their path, the ups, the downs, their accomplishments, achievements, and everything in between. I'm your host, Joshwayy, and I'm here with the one and only, the one of a kind, the amazing, the inspirational, the aspirational, the educated, soon to be master,
Yeah.
Ayannah.
Hi, friends.
Hold on, I think I got a button. Ayannah. Oh no, Ayannah.
Thank you.
There it
Thank
is.
you.
There it is. But how you doing though? What's up?
I'm good. I'm grand. I'm excited to be here.
I know this is super exciting. This
so
is the
stoked.
first episode, the official first guest.
Yes.
This is a landmark type of thing right here. Like this is milestone.
Yeah.
This is going down in history.
For sure.
Essence stone.
Don't worry. I'll sign it.
We gotta get a photo and everything at the end like this. And then get a sign. And then get a sign.
Exactly.
So how's your day?
It was good. It was rainy outside here in sunny California, which is not
Yeah.
my favorite, but you know, it was a good day.
Yeah.
Nevertheless.
Awesome. What you like? I know you have like multiple things that you do. Sometimes, you know, you go to prison.
Yeah.
And also you work at church. Very different dynamics of places of work.
Two totally different groups of people. Yeah. Today I was just I work at a church, so I was just there getting things together for the baptism.
Nice.
On my lunch break, I continued to write my 20-page paper that's due tomorrow.
Do tomorrow. What are you doing here right now? Wait, how many pages have you wrote?
I'm at like 17. So,
Oh, okay. My heart about to drop. I'm about to say, and we're done. All right.
we're good. Procrastination can sometimes be, you know, the thing that gets you the A.
That's very A to get you the A. Brought to you by
A.
A. But no, I'm a big time procrastinator myself, honestly. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's what like helps me do my best. If that makes any sense at all.
It's the pressure that makes diamonds.
See, boom, Jim right there. Drop the ball. But yeah, 17-page paper. What's that for?
It's for my, it's my last assignment that I have to turn in for leadership class.
Okay.
And then it's my last assignment for my master's degree in social work.
Ooh, last assignment.
Last assignment.
Ooh, she's so close. This is the final countdown.
Last one.
That's
I'm
awesome.
So stoked.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
That is so dope.
I
Oh
appreciate
my
it.
goodness. Well, that's a great way to start this because you're about to come to a huge peak in life. Mm-hmm. So let's take it all the way from the jump. Like we need to know who you are. Who is Ayannah? Like take us back. Where are you from? You know, born and raised.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Okay, cool. So starting at the beginning, I was born in Las Vegas, actually in the same hospital as my mom, which is really cool. My mom was 15 and my dad was 21. She was a runaway. You know the Walmart ads? The Walmart ads.
Wait. What? Your mom was?
My parents had met through my aunt. My dad was a friend of my aunt, and my family before I had entered the picture were very discriminatory. So my mom decided to run away with my father to New Mexico, where he was staying at the time. And so she ran away out there and lived with them for a good while. And my grandma, in all of our baby books, we have the Walmart missing person ads.
Wait, in the baby book?
Yeah. My grandma was like, please don't forget. Look at this.
What?
Yeah. And so so then I came back not me. My mom came back after they found her, came back pregnant with me, which kind of flipped everything upside down. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a huge.
You know? It's not as like, it flipped everything upside down because I'm the first grandchild and I'm the first granddaughter and I'm the first biracial child in the family line of grandchildren on my mom's side.
Wow.
And technically my dad's side too. So it was a big flip, but something that I've correlated in the last couple of weeks or months with my grandfather passing last year, was that he was the first person who taught me that I can change people's perspectives about other people.
Wow.
Yeah. So
that's huge.
My grandpa had cancer, and I went out there to say my goodbyes. He was older in age, so we all knew it was coming. He lasted a lot longer than we thought, so we went to say our goodbyes. And in that, we had a conversation about biracial children and Black children, and he was just saying how beautiful they are. And I just remembered a conversation where my mom was saying, like, that's not how he was before he met me. So yeah, I've encountered a lot of those things of having to put into the work to change people's mindsets, to break a lot of transgenerational curses that are on my family.
You did that from birth.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then to not be statistics. So my mom got pregnant with me at 15, had all of her children by 24. So my grandmother also had children very young, and the statistic is the younger you have children, the younger they have children. So if you're a teen parent,
okay.
Yeah, if you're a teen parent, it's liable that at least one of your children will be a teen parent. I think my grandma had her first kid at 18, 19, which is technically still a teen. My mom had me at 15. My brother, I'm now 27. My youngest brother is...
You have no kids out
no
there.
kids.
Yeah, it's gonna make you a disclaimer.
No kids.
No babies. Okay.
My brother is 19. In March of 2024, he will be 20. And we will have beaten all statistics that one of us would have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a child in their teens. Yeah, my mom has 4 kids. Only one of them has kids. My brother, he's 25. He had his first at 25. So.
Hey, there we go. We go. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, so growing up in that situation, like, why are you making that face?
My childhood is so born in Vegas. I spent the majority of my childhood in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay.
And, my mom's entire side of the family was there. My dad went to prison when my mom was pregnant with the brother that comes after me. So I didn't remember him up until I met him later in life.
Because your brother's 2 years younger than you.
Yes.
So he was very young when. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's like my mom was pregnant with him when he went, I think.
Okay.
So then we lived in Phoenix, and it was like my grandma, my grandpa, and the majority of their children. I think there was only 2 or 3 of their 7 that weren't living in Phoenix. Okay. So that means get-togethers were popping, birthdays were popping. You didn't need friends because you had all the cousins.
Everybody wasn't like a big family kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a big family, and we were together all the time. I remember hanging out with my cousins all the time. My mom and my aunt and my other aunt all worked together in the same Eats a Pizza place. So like
Eats a Pizza?
Eats a Pizza.
Wait, it's called Eats a Pizza?
It's called Eats a Pizza.
Wait, that sounded so fake. They worked at an Eats a Pizza place. I'm like, what is that?
Eats a Pizza is like a Chuck E. Cheese, but with no mascot.
Okay, that was the first thing that came into my head. I was like, that sounds like Chuck E. Cheese or something. Eats a Pizza.
Eats a Pizza. And because our parents worked there and my mom was like a manager, we would just go in and they'd just give us tokens, like cup full of tokens.
Wait, so they would give you tokens for free?
Yeah.
Would you be able to get the prizes also?
Yeah, because maybe not the prizes for free.
Well, not for free, but like,
yeah,
you got the tokens to win.
You got the tickets. Yeah, I just remember we would go often, but not like all the time. But we would go in, and I just remember being like, "Oh, hi, Mom," and she'd just give us like cups full of tokens. And we'd be like, "Bet."
You was Eats a Pizza privilege.
Yeah.
That's what you were.
And then we would go back and be like, "Mom, we need more." It's just like another cup of tokens. And
That's the plug.
one time they had an Eats a Pizza commercial. We were in it because my mom
First of all, how have I not known this by now?
I don't know where the commercial is. I honestly kind of forgot about it until just right now talking about it. But we were like in the background running around, like we were there for the shooting and stuff.
It's a pizza.
For real.
That's crazy. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then life in Phoenix was crazy, traumatic.
Okay. You took a deep breath there.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that.
So, obviously, it's very difficult being a biracial child in a time where there wasn't that many, nothing that I could see myself in. So nobody was really talking.
Representation.
Yes.
Okay.
So nobody was really talking about, all the characters or people that they were talking about were white. So like at first astronaut woman, white. For teachers, anytime they predicted anybody was white. I love my family, but the majority of women I were around was white. My mom's white. All my aunts and uncles are white that I know of, you know?
Wow.
And so we had a couple of friends that were black, but it just wasn't necessarily the same. And I remember they always say like the oldest is the guinea pig. So like I used to beg my mom for the relaxers, the Just Me relaxers.
Because your hair was different.
Yeah. My hair was, it was massive. If I could go back now, I would literally I'd grab it so bad, but it didn't look the same. So I'd beg for the relaxers and things like that. And it was just hard. Like now kids have like Disney princesses and they're of all shades and colors that they can relate to. But I remember if I wanted to be a Disney princess for Halloween, it was a black version of something. So it was like a black version of Snow White, even though Snow White's not black.
Yeah.
So, you know? So, or like if you wanted to be a pop star, all the pop stars, I remember there was one Halloween, I was like a Britney Spears when she was good.
Okay.
This is pre-head
All
yeah.
right.
In her
I ain't gonna lie to you. I used to love Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It was easy. It was like a pop star thing. And it came with a blonde wig. And I remember on the inside of me, it made me so upset because I'm just like, I'm not blonde. My hair is too big to fit in this wig. Like,
oh, I didn't think about that too.
but my mom put in a lot of work, and I give her 1,000 of credit for it. She put in a lot of work to give the experiences that people thought I missed out on. So we lived in an apartment complex, and she found somebody down a couple complex down that I would go to her house all day, and she would braid my hair. So I got the experience of waking up, going there, having an appointment at 10, them not being ready till 12, you riding around with them with your hair half braided because
Wait, where you going? Riding where?
to get food, to get more hair products, whatever. My mom used to be so mad. Like we would come home, my mom would be so upset that like she was like, it's 9 o'clock, I'm picking you up, you're like sleeping in the chair, and she's just now finishing the last braid. But for me, like, that was my time to spend time with people who look like me.
Yeah.
How do we act? How do we respond? What are the things we're saying? Things like that. I went through a lot of trauma at that time. I witnessed a lot of trauma. My mom was in a domestic violence relationship with my youngest brother's father. And so that is ultimately what pushed us coming to Colorado.
Did you experience that firsthand?
I think so. There's a lot of my childhood that I blocked out, I think, because of that I can't remember. But I do remember one instance that he gave us some money to go to a vending machine and coming back and being locked outside for like a good portion of the time. And I remember getting to that point, and then what I remember after that is wonky. So I don't know if I heard anything. I don't know if I saw anything. I don't quite remember, but that's something that our brain does with trauma is that it'll shut it off at a certain point.
A protection.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
So then you moved to Colorado.
Moved to good old Colorado.
Cool. Colorado?
Colorado.
What city?
Pueblo.
Oof.
We moved to Pueblo. I met my great-grandma, her husband, my great-aunt, and my great-uncle who's blind. So I lived with a bunch of greats, which is really cool. Not a lot of people have the opportunity. Yeah. Started fresh, started going to school. At this point, really struggled with reading.
What age was this?
8.
Okay, got you.
I was about 8 when we moved to Colorado. Super struggling with reading. I mean, still had good grades, but it was a struggle. Started going to like the special reading classes. Did those classes really all the way up until high school. Well, even in high school. And we lived with my grandma for a little while, and then we moved out. I met my dad when I was 11. I remember having a conversation with my mom just about like what life would be like if he were there, and my mom basically said that if you want to meet him, I'll find him. And so
sound like your mom was really invested in your life the entire way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think my mom obviously she's had more trauma than she's disclosed to us, which I know is for sure, but she did everything that she could to, one, be honest with us, what the struggles are like being a teen parent, what the struggles are like doing alone. She was honest about her hopes and wishes that we would have more than she had, that she wanted us to have more. And my mom has dealt with massive depression or major depression disorder my entire life. So that also played a role in for it. But my mom, I don't think, really cared for us to be my dad, but because it was a large desire for me, she agreed to do so. So I remember writing a letter. My mom said she had talked to somebody was going to mail it or something. I don't know, as a kid, you don't really think about it. And then I remember I was waiting for, my mom put us in a lot of sports, so I was waiting for a call from my softball coach. And the house phone rang, so I answered it, and I was like, hello? And I thought he said, "This is Sam, your softball coach." And I was like, okay, hi. Like, I'm waiting for him to tell me when practice is, because that would be normal for us. Like, when a sport's starting. And at that time, my mom would work, and I would stay home with my siblings because I was the oldest. So, like, answering the phone wasn't something new.
Wait, you was answering the phone at 8 years old?
This was more like 10, 11.
Okay, I'm about to say, look, that's wild.
Well, at that
my mom was like, you better not touch that phone. Don't answer the phone. Don't knock. If anyone knocks on the, like, you over here. Hello?
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I would say from like 8 and above is when I started to be parentified. Like, I remember doing whatever I could to help my mom with my younger siblings. And then the older I got, the more intense it got of like babysitting and things like that. So I would say 11, I was watching them, not for a long time, but by the time we got out of school, until my mom got home or until my grandma came over. But when the baseball calls, like when any sports season would come up, we would always answer the phone because they would tell us when practice is, and if you didn't answer the phone, you never knew. So I remember getting the call, I answered, and I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting for him to tell me when practice is, and he said, "You looked really pretty in your pictures."
Hey, yo. hey, yo, coach. You got it. What?
I was like, hang on.
Yeah, that had to be like...
I was freaking out. I was like, Mom, my baseball coach just called. He said I'm pretty in my pictures. So my mom comes like running out. She grabs the phone, she's like, hello, starts talking.
Time out.
Goes into the back room for 15 minutes. I'm like, my mom's taking his job. That's it. I'm like, my mom is cussing him out. My mom's like one of those scary people when she gets upset and like starts cussing people out to where like I can get embarrassed. So like I was also freaking out because I'm just like, I can't hear my mom cussing, so I don't know what's going on. And then 15 minutes, my mom says it's 5, but honestly it felt like forever.
Mm-hmm, that's how memory does.
Yeah, she came out and she was like, Ayannah, it's not your baseball coach, it's your dad. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And in that moment, what's going through your mind? How are you responding physically? What is that?
I think I just looked at her and I was like, okay. I think my brain was still trying to compute that thank God it wasn't my baseball coach, but now it's this guy that like I'm supposed to know. And then also happy because like this had been a moment that I had been waiting for a really long time, because you hear about all the father-daughter dances and all the Father's Day where like at school you're making something for Father's Day for your dad. You just have to like throw out when you get home because you don't have one.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was excited. I remember she gave me back the phone to talk to him. And then he passed me around to all my siblings. Not my siblings, sorry. I have one older sister on my dad's side. So he did let me talk to her. And then to all my cousins. They're like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Hi, I'm so-and-so.
Wait, so your initial phone call was a meeting of...
It was like a phone pass. Hi, I'm your cousin. Hi, I'm your cousin. Hi, I'm your cousin.
What?
And I was like in shock. I remember talking to myself and I'm like, wait, I should be paying attention. I was like, I hope he doesn't expect me to remember all these names.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I'm being immersed in a culture where their names are as unique as mine. Like my older sister's name is Joshwayy. I have a cousin's name who is Ayannah. Like these are the Jork, Dee, like they're extensive names, which in my thing, the most extensive name I had heard was mine.
Wow. Mm-hmm. What was the first name you said?
Joshwayy.
Is there African at all in there?
I mean, probably somewhere. We just call her Shay.
Antonishua.
Yeah. Love you, Auntie.
Okay, that's I'm hearing. You just took me. I'm not gonna lie. You took me back to DC.
Yeah.
When you said that, I was like, that's some back home DC kind of names. That yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So then, I remember that summer we went out to. I remember my dad called a lot, but it wasn't necessarily always for me. It was for my mom, because him and my mom started talking again. So we went out there that summer for a week and got
back to Arizona.
No, to New Mexico. That's where my dad was at.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So we went to New Mexico to meet everybody, and then a couple months later, my dad and my older sister moved in with us. And moments that I thought were like, I think when you have a parent that's missing, you have this idea that they're going to come in and play this superhero.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to come in and save the day and my life's going to be fine because
all
like
your
my dad's
questions
here.
are answered and all those moments are...
Right. Mm-hmm. And it was everything but that.
Wow.
Yeah. I love my dad to pieces and we've had our ups and downs. But when he came, it completely destroyed my self-esteem. What I thought of the family aspect, what I expected from him, because my expectations obviously were never met. And so like this idea of what a dad is supposed to be, he didn't meet because one, partially they were unrealistic, but that's just not the men who they were. I
was about to ask you, like, was it because your expectations were too high or did he just genuinely didn't step up to be that father figure in your life?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think I expected him to come in and just be like, oh, I love you. I miss you. Let me be more hands-on.
Yeah. And
it just wasn't. It was like he came in. I remember one of the first conversations he had with us when we were in New Mexico, because it was me and my brother are his biological kids. And I have a younger sister and a younger brother that are not. And so he had this conversation with us and talking to my younger siblings, like, you guys can call me Gene. You don't have to call me Dad. And he was like, but you two have to call me Dad. And so it like jumped in as if we knew him.
Yeah.
As if like he had been there all along and this new routine was just it.
Yeah.
And then also because he took on my role in the sense of like I would do a lot of the cooking and the cleaning. And I remember one time I was going to do it and he's like, you don't need to do it, I'll do it. And then I'm just like, I've done this for how many years now and you just want to come in and do it, like, you know? So, I think it was really hard, and like, okay, you're expecting me to take orders from this one person.
That's that part when someone has been not around, just hasn't existed in general, comes in, and you have to fall underneath them.
Yeah. With no like conversation, it was straight demands. Like, you will call me Dad. This is how things are going. Things are changing, and this is it.
Wow.
So I always tell people who are meeting their biological dads to make sure that they check that. Have no expectations. Don't think that he's going to come in and fix everything. Don't think he's going to come in and be a super dad. Allow him to prove that to you if he is. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for devastation. You're putting expectations on him that he never signed up for. that you don't know if he can meet because you have no idea about his character, who he is, what he's done, or nor what he's gone through or his trauma that affects how he parents. So yeah, my dad moved in with us, 6th grade, the beginning of 6th grade. Then my older sister, I think emerging children who were raised completely different is very interesting. The way my mom and dad have parented were just different, which means different results in children. So not always bad, but the things that were done were just different. And my older sister is gorgeous, obviously, but she got a lot of attention from guys, and I just remember wishing for that because my older sister had it. And it's like, my older sister was in high school when I was in 8th grade, and I was a cheerleader, and all the 8th grade boys would talk about her instead of me. And so I would be so sad that everybody's talking about her and not me.
Yeah.
So I went through that inner turmoil because I never told her because I was like, it's not her fault that people find her attractive, you know?
Yeah.
So my mom and my dad split my sophomore year, middle of sophomore year. My sister and my dad go back to New Mexico, and at this point we're staying with him for a week in New Mexico in the summer, like a week and a half, 2 weeks. My mom would drive down there, drop us off, and then come back and get us. And I honestly would have a really rough time those summers because everybody loved all of my siblings more than me. Like, my brother's my dad's only son, so he's like the pride and joy. We grew up with him saying, he's my only son. So we make fun of him all the time now.
Okay.
Like, anytime my dad says anything about my brother, I'm like, yeah, because he's your only son. We do that all the time. My older sister is his first, and he raised her since birth. She went through a lot of trauma with her mom, so he won full custody. My younger brother, he coached all his football teams until he left, so his flag footballs and stuff. And my sister, Rayanne, was the only other Cowboys fan other than my older sister.
Feel free to continue.
I made him put it on the ground. So, and she played football, and he helped coach her team.
Word, she played football. Wow.
And so I was the cheerleader and the violinist, and the art kid out of all of us. And there was really nothing that we really connected on. So I would go out there during the summers, and I just felt like it would be such a love fest on everybody else. Like, my siblings fit in with them so well. And at the time, I didn't know how to code switch, and I'm older than my siblings, which means I've had more exposure to the white side of my family than my sibling stuff. So I am a little bit more quirky. I talk a little bit more proper, more Caucasian, if you will. Then moved to a very country town for my junior and sophomore year.
Wow, you moved a lot.
It's still in Colorado, but a very, very country town. It's actually was one of the restaurants there used to be like a center for the KKK in that town.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a very traumatic time there. Like, I was told that people did want to date me because it would fix their curiosity, and their parents would be okay with it because I was half white. My brother, we lived on this was after I had moved out for college, but we lived on a street that the tree would get in the way of a road sign, so nobody would know when to turn. So we just got accustomed to walking to the edge of where the road sign is, so that way they can just pick us up from there. And my brother was walking one day, and the neighbor came out and put a gun to his head and was like, we don't want your kind walking down here. My mom had to come running and was like, that's my son, which a lot of people didn't believe at first because we're brown and I'm the lightest out of all my siblings. My siblings are, especially in the summertime, we all get very dark. So there's a lot of craziness and a lot of racism and craziness and a lot of fun too, like but yeah. And then I graduated. At the time felt really called to go to GCU to get my degree in ministry.
Grand Canyon?
Yes, Grand Canyon University, to get my degree in ministry with an emphasis on youth. Being in Arizona was very re-triggering for me. I felt a lot of traumas came up for me in that area. While I was there, I wasn't staying on campus. I got a scholarship, but I still couldn't afford it. So I lived with my aunt, who was still in Arizona and lived like a couple bus rides away. And sometimes I would walk to school. It'd take like an hour. Got into longboarding so I could get there faster.
Longboarding.
Yeah, longboarding was it.
That's the white side coming out. There you go.
That's it. One time I fell and I had a mason. It was back when drinking out of mason jars were really big, popular. I don't know.
Oh, that's country for sure.
It was like it was like infused water was really coming back. Like putting the fruit in the water was really making a run for it. So
Where?
At least in Arizona.
I'm like, what?
I had
We was not doing that in D.C. Infused water in mason jars on our longboard. So what?
I had a huge mason jar and I'm just like skating and my board hit a rock and I fell and the mason jar broke and I had to show up to class with like cuts and bloody because I was already like cutting it close on time. So I had to go to the bathroom and like pat it up.
What?
Yeah,
oh, God.
It was terrible.
That does not...
Rough times. Should have just taken the bus, but you know.
Easily.
And then my aunt was dealing with her ex-husband who was very abusive, and their relationship was still toxic because they had children involved, and not necessarily like physical abuse, but a lot of mental and emotional abuse. I remember one time I rode with her and she went and cleaned his house and brought him groceries so she could drop the kids off so they could stay the night with their dad. And the kids used to like sometimes bash her for it because they're like, my dad said you're this and you're that. And I just wanted to be like, bruh, your mom cleans your dad's place and brings food so you can stay. I would look at her crazy and just be like, just tell him. Wow. It's gotten much better now, but it was a very toxic thing. And then I started having like dreams and nightmares of my abuse that had happened in Arizona, and just started replaying, and I just kind of went on autopilot for the last year I was out there. My aunt was moving to a smaller place, so I couldn't stay with her, so I went home, talked to my counselor. Counselor said I could keep my scholarship and do online. Went home. As soon as I got home and kind of situated, she told me that they couldn't. So she was taking my scholarship and the classes were on pause. Well, she never paused the classes, so I flunked out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, because she never paused the classes and never told me.
Yeah.
She just told me they took my scholarship and that they were on pause. And she never actually paused them, so I flunked out. Started working, or not working, but started attending a church that I had already been going to out in Canyon, but had broken off from the other church to create their own, and got involved in like what they called at the time the inner circle, or like the king's table is what they joked around and called it all the time, but it was just like a couple of people that were close with the pastors, and started working as a janitor in the gold mines, which was really cool. I've had some cool jobs.
What is your life?
Cool.
You worked in a gold mine?
Yeah, so in Colorado, in Cripple Creek, there's a gold mine where
Cripple Creek.
It's two things. Cripple Creek is known for the slot machines.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. And then also the gold mine that's up there. You could take like a gold mine tour and stuff. But we would go in there and like clean all the offices and stuff like that.
Wow.
Made a lot of money.
Well, working with gold, you know.
I wish. But we made a lot of money. And at that time, in the small town I was working at, I only paid, $325 in my half of rent for a 2-bedroom apartment for me and my friend Bailey.
Wow.
So it was a lot of money. And I was getting tattoos every month. It was my prime time.
Hey, if you don't know her, she's tatted up.
I do love them. And then I was going at that about a year into the job, I figured out that I was moving to California. So I started making like every other weekend. One weekend I'm with my mom. The other weekend I'm driving to New Mexico, which was a 5-hour drive from Colorado one way.
Wow.
To spend time with my dad, my nieces, my nephews, my family, because I knew when I moved to California, they're not 5 hours away anymore. So I can't get in my car and drive. So I would do that like one weekend. My mom was only like 30, 45 minutes away, so it wasn't that bad. But I would go back and forth, making sure I was spending like a good amount of time before I moved. Moved out here. I moved out here and then had to go back for a week because my sister was graduating high school. So
Okay.
when I came back after my sister graduated, Candace, who I live with now, was going to go look at Platt College. And I was like, oh, I'll go with you. And then started school that next day.
Wow. Okay.
For my AA in business management. Finished that. Started getting my BA in business management. Started working at a group home. I fell in love with it, even though it was very difficult. Gets so crazy. But I fell in love with doing the hard work for individuals that people forget about or don't want to do the hard work for, but take like the pictures of, So started working there, worked there all the way up until I graduated with my AAs. I worked there through COVID. Most of COVID I worked there. Got into CBU for my master's in social work because I worked there. And then stopped working there after I had to file a sexual harassment on one of the employees. And nothing happened.
Sheesh.
Yeah. So I was like, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yes, not fun.
From there, I went to ABA Services, which is a therapy for kids with autism. Loved that. Just wasn't getting enough hours. Then at a certain point, I went back to the group home for a higher paying position because I was almost done. And then went through health scares. It wasn't working with the group home due to the brain disorder that I got diagnosed with in September of last year. So then I started working at the church after that.
And prison.
And I
can't forget prison.
And I interned, yes. I intern with, we call them Gs, which is justice involved individuals. Many people know them as inmates. I teach them anger management and emotions, parenting and trauma healing, and give individual therapy to inmates in the San Bernardino areas.
Wow.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to do, honestly.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I've just been chilling with like gang members and murderers all day, and I love it. Nothing more.
Yeah, cuz.
Yeah.
Yeah, cuz. Last night, cuz, I was about to deal with his homie. Nah.
No, for real.
Like, bro.
That's how it be sometimes, and I'm like, all right, let's use our coping skills. But yeah.
Wow. So now you're on the edge of your master's in
on the 26th, which is less than 13 days away.
Shit. That's awesome. Yeah. And it's MSW, which is Master in Social Work. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is you have a very deep, life-impacted story.
Yeah.
And it literally shaped who you are today and your career path that you're on right now.
For sure. I remember when I was in Canyon City, I was talking to the pastor's wife and just telling her, she was like the first person that maybe the second person that I really indulged my full story up until there. And she said something that I use all the time, which is like, God really picked you up out of like a burning train, because I can pinpoint several events and actions in my life where it could have been up in flames, or I could have been really where he protected me and I didn't know it. Like there was one time where I was walking to school to Grand Canyon University, and this car pulled over and they tried to pull me in.
What?
Yeah. There was another time where like I was in high school and I was really desperate for attention, and this like older creepy guy was talking to me, probably would have been human trafficked there. Like literally told my mom I was going to hang out with friends, and had he shown up I probably would have. Like I waited 10 minutes and he didn't show up, so I was like, Mom, come get me. And had he showed up, who knows like where I would have been and stuff like that. And there's just different instances where like God has shown up and shown out and picked me out of, I think, the burning train, obviously, that the enemy has in store, because I'm meant to do big things. So why not stop it early if you could, you know?
Well, the first thing I want to say is that you're a strong person.
Thanks.
You've been through a lot.
Yeah.
10 times, 100 times over what a lot of people experience in their life.
Yeah.
And you're still here.
Mm-hmm.
About to get your master's.
Mm-hmm.
And making a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah.
Young and older.
Yeah.
In all walks of life.
Yeah.
And a lot of people use those things like, yeah, I've been through this and this to help me with this. But you're this and this that you've been through, or this, and this, and which are heavy situations, whether it's family, whether it's legal stuff, whether it's an identification, like who you are as a person, like just, wow. I'm happy for who you are, because a lot of people with a path like yours did not come out how you are right now. A lot of people may be incarcerated or didn't even make it, or resort to drugs in a heavy way, or alcohol in a heavy way, or just don't care about themselves in general, or repeating the things that were done to them to other people. They'll just, and for you to be out here saying, no, that's not going to be me. I'm going to try to make sure it's not my siblings. I'm going to make sure it's not other people that are in bad situations. I'm going to help pull them out. I'm going to help rescue them. I'm going to help pull them up. That's amazing. Yeah. And I say that it's attributed to what you've been through, but were there certain like moments or people in your life that made you be like, oh, I'm going to go into the path of social work, or I'm going to go into the group home because of this? Were there moments that triggered that, or?
I would think one of them would be my mom. My mom always raised us to be people who cared about other people. You give the shirt on your back to somebody in hopes that if you needed it, somebody else would do the same. So I've watched my mom see people homeless and turn around and pick up food for them and do extra things for people, and be very generous in who she is and all the ways that she could be, whether it's not financially or whatnot. So my younger sister works with mentally challenged adults. So most of her clients are in their 50s, 60s, and she just takes them places to have fun and do program things and go to the mall and do things that normal people wouldn't. And then I'm in social work working with people that people think less of. So just a testament of how she raised us. And working in the group home, actually, I found it on Indeed. I applied to be a child care worker because I just needed a job. And when I got there, they looked at my resume, and because I had such office work background, they wanted me as an office assistant to the case managers. And the office was in the home, so I worked very closely with the case managers, Sione and Vanessa, who are now my dear friends. But it was a clinic of 3 people, just us 3, for 2 homes, a boy's house and a girl's house, which ranged anywhere from 5 to 8 kids apiece for 3 people, taking them to all of their appointments. And when they're in the foster care, their appointments are very rigorous. Therapy, doing anger management, being there in the middle of crises. So I took a lot of trainings to do that. And Vanessa was in the process of getting her master's degree when I met her. She was in her final year, and we became really close. And she was just like, I think you'd be a great social worker. Like, social work is exactly what we're doing now, and you'd be great at it. And I said, I would love to, but I'm not going back to school for another 4 years to do it. And she was like, no. She was like, for a master's in social work, you just have to have any bachelor's. It doesn't matter what's in.
Wow. So
after that, I was like, okay.
That's awesome.
That's all I need to know. So I applied at CBU, got in, and I've been here ever since.
So, as you know, the show's called Drive.
Yes.
So, if you had to wrap it into a few sentences or a phrase or whatever it may be, what is your drive to do what you do and how you help others?
My drive to do what I do is that Saul didn't turn into Paul without an encounter, meaning that people have to have encounters with other people in order to change their behaviors. So if we're living in a world where we don't like the crime rate or racism or how our children are being treated or anything else, we have to be able to meet them where they're at with tools to show them otherwise. Which is why I love what I do at the prison, because I tell them how your parenting isn't actually working. Let's look at how you were parented and where did you end up and how did that push you there? So how are they correlating with what you're doing now? And people do the best with what they know, and most of the time it's what their parents knew. So being able to break the idea of this is the only way and introduce them to tools and perspectives that are different is what changes the world. So encounters, making sure that they're encountering people that don't affirm what they believe, but challenge it to make them look at it differently.
Wow. I like how you smile at the end. Like, I can tell that you're super passionate about that and what you do. Like, there's so much light that comes on your face. I was thinking that you're like, I'm like, there you go. You have found your thing.
Yeah.
And I feel that.
Yeah, I think it took this last year to really get confident in my skills and confident in myself. You can't do anything. You can't do your passion unauthentically.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's something that Josh has been telling me for forever.
Forever. Our conversation that we have, I be yelling at her like, well, thank you for that.
For sure. I had to drop it. But I get it now in the sense of like me being my authentic self is the area that I'm able to make the most impact, because in my authenticity is what I was created to make a difference for. So I didn't make a difference in my grandpa's idea of African American people by being someone that he didn't think. No, I changed it by being who I was. I didn't change people's idea of what prison looks like or how outside people think about justice involved individuals by doing that, but by showing up and just being like, no, like you are a human and
yes.
you know, you don't have to have this guilt and shame and what all that looks like. So I think stepping into individuality and being okay with like, I don't have to be everybody's cup of tea.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to be everybody's cup of tea. You can be your own chamomile and someone's going to drink that up and be like, I needed this morning. You know what I mean? Like that's the fact of it is. And that's what I tell a lot of people. That's what one of my core values. That's what I always tell people. Like, you watching this video right now, like, we need you. Yeah. You, not the version of you that you feel like people are going to like, the version of you that's going to fit in. No, we need you, right? Because you never know who you're going to encounter, as they said, and whose life you're going to change, or that circle that you're going to fit into that's going to change your life for the better, and while you're affecting their lives for the better. So we always need a true you in this world. You know what I mean? For sure. So if you're about to graduate, what are your future goals, aspirations? What does your future look like for you, whether it's in the next couple of years or like long term?
Future is wherever the wind takes me. I do know that I do want to write a book I want to write a couple of books, if I'm being honest. I want to write one aimed towards children, one aimed towards the teenage, and one aimed towards adults, obviously, just talking about different things. So for the children, I want to put representation out there. Awesome. I want to talk about finding out you have to wear glasses. I want to talk about getting diagnosed with dyslexia. I have a book series that I'm working on right now that's called Dorianne. And the one's like, Dorianne needs glasses, and she goes through the struggle that most kids go through when they find out that they have to wear glasses every day, or what it's like to get diagnosed with dyslexia, and you see pictures running around and you feel stupid. Because I feel like in the children's realm, we have a lot of books that are like, you are uniquely you, which is great. But we don't have any books that are actually addressing problems that children have and make them feel seen.
Yeah.
So how do you do that other than standing in the bubble and doing that? And things like that. I want to present more. I want to talk more about emotions. I love teaching. Teaching psychoeducation information, giving people the tools to make a difference in their life. It's kind of been my bee's knees. Yeah.
Well, I do have a very important question before I end up letting you go.
Okay.
And that is, I've always was battling how I could word it. Pancakes or waffles?
I knew it. Part of me, when he was like, I have a question to ask you before you go, I was like, it's pancakes or waffles. And then when you're like, I don't know how to ask it, I was like, ooh, maybe it's not.
That's why I did that. I had to let your guard down.
Pancakes all day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Another random question I have for you is, did you have any pets growing up?
Yes. Pit bulls.
Word. So your team dogs over cats?
And a turtle, absolutely.
You had a turtle, first of all.
Turtle named Myrtle in Arizona. Everybody has turtles in Arizona.
Turtle named Myrtle.
Yeah.
So we got turtle named Myrtle.
We lost him.
We
were outside wrestling.
like literally lost him, or like
we took him
R.I.P. to Turtle Myrtle.
No, we took him outside of our apartment, set him right here in the grass with some food. And then we started wrestling and playing with the other kids, and we turned around and Myrtle was gone.
But Turtle's is slow.
Not that one.
Myrtle was moving.
Myrtle's got the speed.
No, but thank you so much. I appreciate that. Like this, yes, a lot of fun. No, this is like my official first episode, and you are doing what you said. This is an encounter.
Yeah.
And you're helping me rip the Band-Aid off of my first episode launching. Woo! Like my first guest. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Of course.
And somebody heard you.
Yes.
Someone will hear you.
Yeah.
Someone is going to share this with somebody that needs it.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Not no super podcasty. Thank you. No, like I mean that, and you know I mean that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you, and it means a lot for you to be here right now.
Of course.
You need to go write your paper. I know that. I understand. But let the people know where they can find you: social media, your podcast, and things like that.
You can find me on social media at _Nashay. That's AY_NASHAY. You can also find me on my podcast, A's Thoughts, which is everywhere you listen to, and that's AY and then THOUGHTS.
A's Thoughts.
Yep.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Drive. I'm your host, Joshwayy. Joshwayy out.